the computer. Okay. Hello, editor extensions crew. Let's get started on our weekly sync. First up is Laura. So we'll save that to the end. We'll address that at the end. But we'll go to Dasha. You're up next. We'll do Laura's. We'll conclude with Laura's.
Okay, sounds good. So John and I were talking about Duo chat and web views, and I'm trying to think ahead as to which teams do we need to start involving for like, hey, this is coming your way, giving you a heads up, since I think people are planning pretty deeply ahead and we're getting a lot of competing things that we need to do. So do we need to involve anybody from the Web IDE team, Duo chat? John, take it away, because I know you're typing.
Yeah, so I've talked with engineers on both teams to talk about the implementation strategy and what they're going to need to do once they want to get like Duo Chat into, for instance, Web IDE. I haven't had any conversations with product owners or product managers, so that might also be part of your question too. Is this part of their planning process? And I think that from my perspective, I know very little to nothing about that side. I think from an engineering perspective, people are aware that we're doing this. I think the biggest, so like for instance, Web IDE doesn't even support the language server currently. So there's a lot of work that needs to happen there, even before we're talking about Duo Chat. But I think that for the Duo Chat team, so the ones who have been working on maintaining the front end in VS Code for Web IDE, there's an awareness that we're moving to the language server, but I don't know if there's an awareness of how that maintenance effort continues. Because from my perspective, I'd love to make it so that people who are trying to maintain web views could do that in the language server without needing our team's involvement. Like they just say, I'm opening up MRs and I'm able to work within this small section of the language server. But I haven't talked with anyone about that strategy.
Okay. Cool. I'll talk to Michelle. She's the PM for the Web IDE/Workspaces team. They have a lot going on right now, as you can imagine. Also, there's going to be a change to how the marketplace is integrated in the Web IDE. So I'll give her a heads up. And I think to your point, the engineers that are involved already know, but just so that it's on her radar. And then I have a sync with Torsten, so I can chat with him as well, just to kind of give him like an FYI. But I think that answers my question. So I'll cover on the product side.
Cool. That sounds great. Thanks.
Okay, I tried to capture that for you both, John and Dasha, but please tweak it if I missed something or got something incorrect. Any more items? Okay, so the last one before we conclude with appreciation shout outs is for Laura. And this one, I guess, was addressed to you, Dasha, but the basic bit is trying to avoid releasing on a day that would lead to an approval on a Friday. I think and she can speak for herself when she connects with the team, but her concern was sometimes the release on a Wednesday us releasing on a Wednesday may lead to a release on a Friday. So we might want to shift from a Wednesday possibly to maybe a Monday, so that if there are delays in the releases for the specific editor itself, it gives us enough time. Instead of having 2 days, we'll have 4 or 5. So I guess wanted some feedback on that. I'm super cool with shifting to a Monday or Tuesday, but it would be good to chime in with you, Dasha and team, to determine if that is something that everyone else is comfortable with.
Yeah, I'll just contribute from like the business side. We can ask for JetBrains to expedite things, but doing that every month will probably be like crying wolf, and then eventually they will stop. So we cannot control the 2 business days. And I think shifting it might make the most sense, but I do want to have that kind of cover of, unfortunately, we do not control how fast they approve their marketplace. So that is a limitation we'll have to deal with. And we can ask for exceptions like we did with Duo Chat, but I want to be cautious of when we do that and how often.
I'm in total agreement. I'm in favor of us shifting to a Monday or Tuesday, to just give us more room. And if it's a situation where that's not enough time, then I'm sure we'll have, we'll work with that when we get there. But shifting to a Monday or Tuesday, preferably a Monday, gives us enough room to deal with anything that we might need to adjust. Any other thoughts, opinions?
Yeah, I think Dylan wanted to say that he thinks moving it to Tuesday makes sense. Since maybe if we have to sync across time zones, maybe we should avoid doing it on a Monday. And on the worst case, that would lead to a release on a Thursday, which I think makes sense and leaves us time to debug if something happens.
Okay, cool. Cool.
That means the releases will sync up with the VS Code ones as well. Not that that's like super important, but
I like
that
that. I like
those fall on a Tuesday, and I don't know why the process is so different, but the VS Code marketplace approval takes about 5 minutes.
Got
So
it.
yeah, very, very different for some reason, but yeah.
Got you. All right. It sounds like that feels good. A Tuesday, looks like the primary vote is for a Tuesday release. So Dylan and Jean-Gabriel, please connect with Laura and update the release to the new date. So either of you can do it, or I can ping her and she can take care of it. But let's get that updated as soon as possible. All right, anything else? All right, so to conclude, every month I am going to do appreciation shout outs to everyone. Every month. So let's start. All right, so for Erin, shout out for your efforts with JetBrains and just being an overall jack of trades. To Angelo, shout out for your work for the bits that you're doing for Da Vinci and for receiving your first ever award. Shout out to Thomas for cycle code suggestions being basically merged today. Shout out to Lena for being pretty much chief of telemetry this month. She's done all of the things telemetry, and we are definitely depending on her to make sure that things stay transparent. So shout out to her. Shout out to Tristan for jumping on a priority bug without hesitation. So thank you for that. Shout out to Jean-Gabriel for just diving in deep without hesitation and getting involved and clearing some issues for us. Shout out to John Slaughter for making sure that you're diving deep into the language server to see the potential of the things that we can build from an integration standpoint. Shout out to Dylan B for transforming into a full stack engineer, and we didn't even know it. So shout out to you, Dylan. And shout out to Bogdan, want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly, for joining our team and being just an excellent joining of the team person. And Amy, thank you for just collaborating with us on all things technical writing. It is appreciated. We want to make sure that you are included and you feel appreciated. And last, but certainly not least, Dasha, thank you for your passion and thank you for caring about what we build. Even if sometimes we're not totally on the same page, our hearts are in the same place. So that is it for today. Anything else? All right, so I'm going to turn this off so we can have a coffee chat.